My battle with leukemia started in 2007. I was just going to school and I came back home to do rotations. One day my nose started bleeding, which is very common for me, so I didn't think anything of it, but after 2 hours of it not stopping, I was kind of worried and I should go to the hospital, but at that time I didn't have insurance, so that was a big thing that was stopping me, but I knew better, and so I went to the hospital and they tested my blood and they stopped the nosebleed. And about an hour later, they put masks on me, and they put masks on everybody that was around me, and they moved me to an isolated room. Did a bone marrow biopsy on me, and the results came back the day after, and she came in and said, "I have good news. You have leukemia, but it's curable." But we started chemotherapy within 2 days, so I dropped everything. I dropped school. I dropped everything in my life, and I've gone through chemotherapy for about 2 years. I was all clear. Everything was good, and I was getting ready to go back to school, and had another biopsy, and the leukemia showed up again. So that's when the doctor said, you know, we need to send you to a bigger hospital, and you need to have a bone marrow transplant. And that's where my real journey began, because that was pretty much life or death right there.
We could treat his leukemia further with chemotherapy, but the only chance of a cure and going back to live his life fully was to eventually have a bone marrow transplant. We talked about whether he had family who could donate, brothers or sisters, and unfortunately there were none. Well, then we started looking for an unrelated donor, and with the knowledge that for Asian patients it's a little more difficult because the amount of available donors is limited.
When they did the initial search, they didn't find anything right away, which worried me, of course. So the first thing I did was I went straight to A3M because I had worked with them before and I knew what to do. So I went to A3M, asked for their help to get the word out in the Vietnamese community, and we started a group. My group of friends and family, we started a group called Team Matthew, and it was just a way of gathering people to help me have volunteers at bone marrow drives. Well, when I first found out I had a donor, or a matching donor, I was excited, but still kind of nervous, because I actually did find one donor in June, and they said they weren't available until August. Within those 2 months, I got really ill, so we had to restart the chemotherapy again and all that, and when August came around, it turned out that that donor was no longer available. I was back at square one, but luckily I found another match in August, and they told me I'd have the transplant in September.
With that, we were able to plan his treatments in a way to prepare him for transplant rather than just for temporary control of his disease. And he is a very brave young man. He went through a lot. He was very sick, and he was at risk of not making it to transplant. And during transplant, there were times when things were touch and go, but he has come through with a very good chance of being cured, and in fact also with a very good quality of life. He's back studying, in fact, and making plans for his future life.
I just want to live a normal life. A lot of people take that for granted as well. I just want to be that random person you walk by, or someone can just say, you know, I never knew he had a bone marrow transplant, but I just want to have a family, grow old, and have kids, and that's it. If I were to meet my donor, I couldn't say thank you enough. You know, I could probably say it 1,000 times, a million times, but you know, all I can say is thank you and give them a hug if they'll let me. And I think the expression on my face and my family would be more than enough to explain how we feel.